What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Dark Story Time. Yes, that's right, I'm back with a reaction video. It's been a little while. I haven't forgot about you. Today's video, we're going to do a little bit differently because today I'm going to show you some of the top content creators that I follow on TikTok. So we're going to use this video to kick off the reaction playlist, but this is Ghost Notes Paranormal, and I follow him as well as Bishop James Long. Bishop James Long does a lot of reaction videos himself. He gets a lot of creepy shit sent to him. So if you guys follow them on TikTok already, then you already know. But if you don't, you're welcome. So let's jump right into this first video. Let's listen to this message.
Please say this. To all the paranormal investigators out there who are seasoned, who've invested the money to buy the equipment, to go to cases, to help families, I want to say thank you. You know, the first time I investigated the paranormal was 35 years ago. And as clergy, I have helped the paranormal community now for over 2 decades. And I get really offended when I hear clergy and the laity attack paranormal teams because they're saying they're doing the work of the devil. Let me give you a little bit of an insight on what paranormal teams go through. So a family contacts me from another state, and they say, we're desperate, we need help. I reach out to a team that I know that is seasoned, that doesn't think everything is demonic, and that are professionals, and that never charge.
Sorry, let me just stop right there. So what he said, he reached out to a team that doesn't think everything is demonic. So what a lot of people don't realize about paranormal investigators is the first reaction that somebody has when talking about a paranormal investigator is that they're faking it. What people don't understand is paranormal investigators, yes, you have your goofs out there, you have your clickbaiters out there, but most paranormal investigators, I promise you, they are 60% skeptic, 40% believer. Because in order to make content in a field like this and to make genuine content, you have to question everything. That's why you'll notice in some of my reaction videos, I will literally tell you, yes, I don't know what I feel about that one. Doesn't seem like it's real. Seems a little fake. I wasn't really feeling it. What is the basis of science? The basis of science is to question everything, right? No matter how smart a scientist is, he or she is always going to continue to ask questions, because asking questions is what leads to more answers and more discoveries, right? It's the same thing as a paranormal investigator. Real and true paranormal enthusiasts / investigators, we do not stop at, hey, here's a ghost story. Okay, well, how legitimate is this? Is this the real deal, or are we being scammed? So I just wanted to say that. So everything he's saying in this is 100%.
I ask them if they would be willing to travel hours and hours to a family whom they don't even know. And they absolutely say, yep, we're on the case right away. They gather all the equipment that they have, and sometimes that equipment can be thousands of dollars. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
And they get the team together, they leave their families, they travel hours and hours to a family whom they don't even know. They spend hours investigating a location and sometimes having to stay at a hotel. And then they gather all the evidence and they present it to me and say, this is what we found. That is called ministry. It's real easy to criticize a team, isn't it, when you don't know what they go through? These investigators, again, they spend thousands of dollars on equipment. They go to people's homes. Again, they don't know who they are. And they could be traveling hours, putting wear and tear on their car. Or if they have to rent a car, that's more expense. Get a hotel room. Spend hours and hours investigating. And then they have to go through all that evidence.
Oh my God, yes.
And then they have to get rid of the stuff that's not there. And they have to say, hey, look, this is what we found. That is tedious. That's a lot of work.
It is.
And in all of that, they never charge. That is ministry, folks. That is doing the work of God. That is helping me get to families to determine, okay, this family needs to be a top priority. And I think they should be applauded. See, in my opinion, those are the paranormal celebrities. Not a person who's on television saying, "Did you hear that?" In my mind, that doesn't make you a paranormal celebrity. I think a paranormal celebrity are people who've investigated in so many years and put time and effort and energy and money into this mission to help families. They should be applauded, not insulted. God bless.
I appreciate that, Bishop James Long. So, many of you don't know, I started as a paranormal investigator. I never really took off with it because the market was looking for paranormal stories. So then I got into the audio recordings, and then I got into the reaction videos, and then I got into TikTok. So my paranormal investigations kind of teetered out. But what he is saying is correct. I've spent so many hours collecting data, so many hours investigating, night after night, out in the middle of the creepiest places in the cold, waiting for just those few minuscule hints that there's something else beyond our comprehension. And let me tell you, I can try to dig those videos up and show you guys, but it was literally one of my investigations. I was in a graveyard and I was out there. I spent 2 nights out there, 2 full nights. And all I had to show for it was a between a 5 to 10 minute video of a line of gravestones, all with American flags. And there, when I asked if there was anyone with us, one flag started waving crazy, like the wind was blowing at a gravestone. But other than that, like, yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of money. The other thing that he didn't mention that some people don't understand is that there are places that you go to sometimes where you're not welcome, but the people there are looking for answers. So you have to try and give them answers. All right, guys. So the first one up comes from Real Horror Talk, who I am following. And this is pretty unsettling, as the caption says.
This creepy video is going viral right now, and unfortunately I couldn't find a source, but that only adds to the eeriness surrounding it, and it gives credence to the urban legend of Hanako. And the legend of Hanako has many different tellings, but the common thread was that she was unalived in a school bathroom, leading many Japanese students to challenge each other to try to summon her. And in this video they do just that. Take a look.
常識のところから嘘嘘取ってよねえ誰もいないよ本当にだってこっち行くからね待ってちょっと待ってじゃあさ誰もいないのに声したってことそしたら嘘嘘ね開いてるんだけど待って開いてるよ行こう行こう
But in case you
Oh,
missed it,
shit.
here it is again in slow
Yo,
motion.
that's
And after
creepy.
seeing this pale face, they run for their lives. But what do you think?
Yo, that's nuts. Let me know what y'all think. All right, let's keep it going with Real Horror Talk.
This creepy video comes from TikTok user Rosanna, I'll tag her below, and her account is being deemed as one of the creepiest accounts on TikTok. And in her latest update, she claims that something begins to mimic her cat Loli in an attempt to draw her closer. And it should be noted that she understands the skeptics, but claims that it's 100% real. But as always, I want to know what you think.
Loli. Loli.
Come on.
Laisse-moi. Loli! Oui, Loli.
That was pretty creepy. I mean, if you guys are watching these at night, I'm not liable. Keep an eye on that dark spot. What am I talking about? I am sitting in the dark, literally, with just my little ring light. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, let's see what we got here. Finders Beepers on YouTube. Check them out.
Someone has just run down those stairs.
This creepy video comes from Finders Beepers on YouTube. I'll tag it below. And after exploring an abandoned building somewhere in the UK with their trusty dog Bear, they begin to feel that they're not alone after hearing noises throughout the building, and Bear begins to visibly shake. But it's what Bear captures on his camera that's attached to his back that chills them to their core. Take a look.
Why has that got a lock on it there for a bathroom cabinet? That makes no sense. Oh, Bear, you're just causing so much bother. What the fuck? Did you hear that? Someone has just run down those stairs. Where is he, Bear? Hello?
You see, after they left, they checked Bear's camera, and while alone in a room, he looks under a bed, where he catches a hand on camera and then darts out of the room.
Oh,
but not only
shit.
that, Bear summons up the courage to check another room, and what he sees in this room only confirms the fact that they were indeed in danger, because you can see what looks to be a large man lying in wait under the bed.
Oh, shit.
And yes, Bear was unharmed, and they still take him out for investigations to this day. But let me know what you think.
That's just people creepy, because who knows what that dude could have been capable of. That's nuts. All right, this next video, this is why I made a YouTube short telling y'all games you shouldn't play. Randonautica. Leave that shit alone. People don't listen.
On May 30th of 2020, TikTok user Lissy posted this creepy video after her and her friend were using Randonautica, and it took them to a bunch of abandoned buildings. And that's when they heard something that they can't explain. And according to her, the coordinates that Randonautica gave her were not near a church and there were no people around. But definitely go check out her page and let me know, what do you think?
Sounds like music.
I feel like they're doing a ritual.
Can we see what you looking at? There we go.
This is not a game. This is why we can't talk.
All right, guys. Speaking of being a skeptic, it literally looks like some type of school or academy, and it sounds like singing. Now, granted, it does sound kind of weird. All right, guys, we got a poltergeist, so strap in.
This terrifying video is going viral right now, and it comes from TikTok user Rodney. I'll tag him below. And after experiencing strange activity during his night shifts, he's finally able to document something that he can't explain. And in this first clip, he explains how a box seemingly flew off the shelf by itself. Take a look.
Look. Boom, you see that?
Oh, shit, yeah.
I'll get back here for you guys to give you a better view. Look at that. And I'm just like tripping, like, what? Pay attention to this area right here. Watch.
While recording this, a loud bang can be heard in the back of the store, so he decides to investigate.
Come on up, see? He's trying to mess with me.
Now at first, it's unclear as to what exactly just happened. That is, until Rodney pulls up the security footage of where he was just standing. And this is what he captures. Take a look.
Look, there I am right there. Look, you see that?
Oh,
that?
shit.
Nah.
Now, as far as I can tell, he still works his normal night shifts and has
Oh,
no
he's
plans on
good.
quitting. But let me know. What do you think?
I think I'd be out of there. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. All right, this next one comes from a man I know a lot of y'all are familiar with. Mr. Ballin. Who doesn't love Mr. Ballin? Let's jump right into it.
One of the scariest places on Earth. Hundreds of feet below the streets of Paris, France, lies one of the world's largest mass graves. It's known as the Paris Catacombs, and it's about 200 miles of intricate passageways that loop all over the city of Paris, where over 6 million people have been buried. The reason all these people were buried down there is because by the 17th century in Paris, the cemeteries in the city were overflowing. And so the decision was made to move their bodies down into these tunnels that were built in the 13th century for mining, but had not been used in hundreds of years. And so they began packing in all these people to the tune of 6 million bodies before they ultimately stopped doing that. Starting in the late 1800s, the catacombs became sort of a popular tourist destination, but only a tiny section of the catacombs was made open to the public, meaning there are literally hundreds of miles of passageways that are totally sealed off to the public. No one goes in there, even though many people believe in these forbidden sections of the catacombs, there are entrances to additional levels of the catacombs, that there could be as much as 400 miles of passageways in the catacombs just waiting to be explored, but no one's allowed to go in. One of these...
So I don't know if you guys are familiar. There's a movie called As Above, So Below, and it's based on these catacombs and what some people believe. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's actually pretty creepy. It was a good movie. All right, we got another one from Mr. Ball, and this one's called The Phantom. Let's get right into it.
2004, shoppers inside of a massive Japanese superstore called Jusco in Wakachi City were suddenly aware of a loud commotion. When they went to investigate, they found a thin young woman with a young baby strapped to her chest, grappling with an older man. Initially, onlookers didn't know what to do. They stood there shocked at what they were seeing. Then the woman yelled out, "Thief!" The man she was fighting with was in his late 60s, and he had pinned the woman and her baby up against this bank of ATMs, and his fists were clenched like he was holding whatever it was he took from her. 3 men from the crowd immediately jumped into action and wrestled the man off of the woman and pinned him to the ground and began trying to pull his hands open to take out whatever he had stolen from this woman, but the man would not unclench his fists. And so these 3 men yelled out to the police that happened to be nearby. They ran over and jumped on top of this guy and handcuffed him. And the man, as he's laying on the ground, is yelling out that he did nothing wrong. And then onlookers would say he began moaning very strangely before he began violently vomiting before falling unconscious. While the police waited for emergency services to show up and take this man to the hospital, they were able to open up his fists and discovered the only thing he was clutching was his own bank card that was now bent in 3 places. The wallet he had on him belonged to him, and the bags that were lying on the ground all around him only contained some pet supplies that he had recently purchased. It did not appear he had actually taken anything from this woman. And speaking of this woman, the police were so caught up in the chaos of the moment that they hadn't even thought to look around for the victim to see if she was okay. So they poked their heads up and start looking around the crowd for this woman, but she's nowhere to be seen. And so they asked the crowd, do we know who she is or where she went? And nobody knew. The police did think it was odd that this woman had walked off without talking to them first, but they figured if she walked away, then everything must be fine. And so they labeled the incident an attempted robbery, and they closed the case. The following day, the older man, who became known as Mr. A by police, died at the hospital as a result of heart failure caused by extreme stress. When the police found out about this, they simply went into the case file, updated it to show the suspect had died, and did not investigate further. But Mr. A's family refused to believe he had just attacked a young woman and her baby. It was completely out of character. He was a gentle retiree who had spent 40 years working for a chemical manufacturer and now was collecting a pension and working part-time as a security guard. He lived with his wife, his children, and his grandchildren, and he lived about a kilometer away from the Jusco, where he had gone that day to get some hamster food for his grandson's hamster. His family pleaded with police to reopen the case and investigate this woman because she must have done something to start this altercation. The police initially resisted, but ultimately conceded and said, okay, we'll check the CCTV camera footage at the Jusco to make sure we didn't miss anything. And what they discovered terrified them. A camera overlooking the ATM bank where this whole scuffle went down picked up this woman about 5 minutes before Mr. A walked into frame. She was standing in a corner just off to the side of the ATMs, and she did appear to have a 2-year-old or 1-year-old strapped to her chest, and she was just standing there motionless with her back to the corner looking down. And then when Mr. A came into frame, he appeared to pull some money out of the ATM. He had bags all over his arms. He turned around after getting his cash and started walking away. And as soon as he does, the woman in the corner suddenly becomes animated. She lifts her head up and walks straight past him, skimming his chest with her hand as she passed. And right after she did that, it was like Mr. A had a reaction to being touched by her, and he instinctively grabbed her arm, and that's when the struggle ensued, and that's when the woman yelled out "thief," although it's clear from the footage that she is the aggressor, not Mr. A. And then at some point, the 3 men jump out of the crowd, they pull him to the ground, the police show up, and then at some point during this chaotic melee, the woman just stands up and meanders her way into the crowd and disappears. Although the police searched every piece of footage in and around this ATM all around the time of the incident, they never found any footage of this woman entering or exiting the Jusco. It was like she just appeared in that corner in order to go after Mr. A and then vanished as soon as it was done. And none of the dozens of witnesses that watched the scuffle take place right in front of them in broad daylight were able to provide any sort of meaningful description of this woman. It was like nobody got a really good look at her. But after reviewing hours and hours of the CCTV footage, the police did find one instance where this woman, for 1 second, looked up at a camera exposing her face. And her face was so unsettling to police that they actually decided not to share the image with the public for an entire year. They were scared that if people saw this image, it would scare them from ever going back to Jusco. This is the image of the woman. As you can see, her face is totally emotionless. Her eyes are blank and downcast. Some have compared her face to a death mask, which is a plaster cast of a dead person's face. Other people have said she doesn't even look human. After seeing the CCTV footage, Mr. A's relatives sued the police for detaining him and pinning him to the ground despite his obvious medical distress as a result of whatever this woman did to him. Eventually, they did reach a settlement, but what they really wanted was an explanation for who this woman was. But even after the police released this strange photo to the public, nobody ever came forward, so she was never identified. And it's unlikely she'll ever be identified because the statute of limitations for this case expired in 2011. The case, which is now referred to as the Jusco Phantom, is still very famous in Japan, and it remains a popular topic on long internet chat room threads where people exchange this eerie photograph and speculate about who or what killed Mr. A. On February...
Yo, that's crazy. All right, guys, so that's going to do it. I'm going to label these videos as my personal FYP content so that you guys can, be able to tell, like, these are different from the other videos. Again, it's all people I follow, so it's really creepy shit. So thanks for stopping by. Please like the video. Please leave a comment. Try to be respectful. Hit the subscribe button. Click the bell so you get a notification of everything. I have dropped some serious content. I've probably dropped about 10 videos in the last 10 days. So let me know what you guys think. Take a look around my channel and make yourself at home. And as always, remember to leave a light on.